Armenian, welcome. Thank you for staying this late, and appreciate that. What is 12 p.m. now in Australia?
Yeah, it's actually already like 12:25
Yeah,
night
so we
time.
wasted quite a bit of time. Okay, so this is Gag Rule Live. This is where yesterday we hastily put this thing together about this two couple marrying in Armenia. There's been quite a bit of noise. Why should Armenian marry to non-Armenian? Well, some of us made some comments there, but we think we have Armine. She had real experience too. But first thing first, this is Levon Aronian. He is the world champion, the Armenian chess grandmaster, and he's really well known. We don't need to talk too much about them, but the whole idea is people talking about why he married to this Filipino. So there is lots of these things happen in the world. People marry to different nationalities. But in Armenia, it seems to me they're making noise because, like Armenian have these things about what the Turks did to us, so they're trying to preserve their culture. And so there's a little bit about this woman, Arianne Caoili, is that how they say it? Caoili. And she's very smart woman. And here is a little bit about her stuff. She's born in Manila, Philippines. Father is Filipino/Chinese, and mother is Dutch Irish. So Arianne is international master player for Australia. Now think about this 1 minute. A Filipino gene, Chinese gene, Dutch gene, Irish gene, and add to it Armenian gene and Jewish gene. I mean, you have an Einstein here, So imagine their children, they don't have to even go to school, they'd be so smart. So that's how this combination will be working. It says, I am currently a consultant, mainly with government client for a global consultancy firm. My aim is to finish my PhD. My doctoral topic is Russian foreign policy. And then, especially it is economic and business relation with Armenia on a state and individual level. I am very interested with issues of Armenian economic development. This is all she's saying to some interviews. And then they ask, what quality do you think woman must have? And she says, I think the ideal woman should have the qualities of gentleness, compassion, elegance, and inner strength. So this is all about her. Plus, says, are you used to play chess with Levon, and how many times did you win? We have never played in an entire chess game against each other. I'm not that stupid to even try. So that's... Now the thing is, here in this picture, you see Armenian president is the godfather. And some would ask why. Well, the reason is because Armenian president his name is Serge Sarkisian. He's the chairman of Armenian Chess Federation. So he himself played chess, and then as you could see in politics, he used lots of chess, and that's how he's in power this long. So now let's bring in Armine, which she had pretty good experience in this in marriage life. Armine, welcome. Thanks for coming, and sorry for this delay. I have no control over when it gets out of here.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thanks for inviting me to your program. Yeah, as you said, I have the experience And it's not just like my own marriage with Australian New Zealand Wicks, but also my parents' experience, because my father is Armenian, but my mom is Bashkirian. It's a tribe from Urals in Russia. And from childhood, like, I was raised in an Armenian family with non-Armenian mom, but mom who was having and has all the features that we appreciate in Armenian woman. That is the caring about family, loving, kindness, gentleness, and all that stuff which she taught us to. And she raised us as any Armenian woman will raise their children as an Armenian, and made us as a proud Armenian. And of course, like growing, I never thought that I will marry non-Armenian, though I always was open. And if, like my sister, she is more nationalist, I would say. She doesn't see anything except Armenian man, Armenia, but I'm more open. So when it became my time to choose a right man in my life, I did first wrong decisions in my life, and I have Armenian husband, but it didn't work out. So then I start looking for someone, as some Armenians will say, otar. And I was lucky enough because I met my husband and our feelings were mutual. We love each other and we created our happy family. And there is already like 6 years we are together. And
Armenia, so you guys they used to live in Thailand?
No, just now it's already 3 months that me and our daughter, we live in Australia while Len still working in Thailand.
So, but this whole sacrifice, land making and you making, is to keep your daughter education for her education, correct?
Yes, though Marry is not a biological father for Len, but he loves her and cares her as a biological father, and we did this sacrifice for her that she can be raised in much better environment and get better education for her life.
Well, that's a big sacrifice. So he live in Bangkok, yes, which is where hopefully in a few minutes we'll be connecting with him, and then you live in Gold Coast, I guess, in Australia.
Yes,
must be a nice place where it says Gold.
It's a paradise, really.
All right. So what is your take on this marriage? The people are making some noise about it. It's just...
like, I can't blame people who say, oh, you should not marry non-Armenian. I take both sides because I understand what people think, like someday, because as you said, we went through very bad times and our nation always, not just in the beginning of 20th century with Armenian genocide, that we were murdered, killed and raped and all that bad stuff that happens to our nation, but through all the centuries, we always were invaded by different nations. And so people try now to keep our blood as clean as possible, as we say. Yeah. But at the same time, this international marriage is actually showing, and not just my family's example, but I know many people that married to non-Armenians, and Aronians and Arianne's marriage showing that too, that when you get married to non-Armenian, actually you start appreciating your country more. In Armenia and in Armenian families, we just take everything granted. We don't think about small things. But when you get married to non-Armenian and they start being interested in your culture, in your history, you actually start learning more about your country and history and culture than you were doing before. And it's like you opening new world for you. And
that's true.
With that, actually, you start more involved in helping your country than you would do when you were actually living in Armenia.
Well, look, I think I witnessed that because when Lani asked me or invited me to join you guys with this Adopt a Village, stuff like that, and really Lan putting all his heart into Armenia. Like he's doing so much. You know, I wish every Armenian will sacrifice that much of his life to do it. But he's
even half of it.
Yeah, it's like he's amazing. So I don't think Armenian lost you by you marrying Len, because I think Armenian gained a guy, intelligent guy, very, very hardworking guy, and he used his time and also his profession to assist and help Armenia. And I think you two are a perfect example, and I'm sure these two couples will also be a good example, because she's already talking about how she could help Armenia, and she's pretty intelligent woman, and she's involved in politics.
Yeah. And I admire her. Like I didn't hear about her before, but now reading all the posts about her and what she does, how she does, and how she feels about Armenia, I'm really admiring her.
Yeah. I read about her. I mean, there's so much we could. I don't want to talk too much about this Levon, because everybody knows him. Everybody knows he's a champion in chess, and so there's no use bragging too much about him. But people don't know about her, and that's why I thought talk more about her, because she's a really very intelligent woman, and with all those genes she has in it, and add the Jewish gene and Armenian gene to it. So we're just looking at some new generation smart kids. Yeah. Well, let's see if we could. Can you try from your side if you could bring Len? If not, then I'll just call him directly from here.
Yeah, okay. While I am calling, it's always difficult, the international marriages, because we need to adapt to each other's culture, thinking, and the ways of life, and it's very difficult. It's very complicated life.
Yeah.
But I think when you are strong and you respect each other, you try to understand each other and bring both cultures to your family from both sides, then it will work.
Yeah, okay, now we see you. So Len, tell us about your marriage. What do you think about this fuss in Armenian community and social media about this wonderful, beautiful woman from Philippines?
Wally, I think it's symptomatic of the fact that I think in Armenia there's about 98% Armenians, something like that. And it's just that Armenians aren't used to other people, just a simple fact of life. And we all understand that birds of a feather like to flock together. We like our own kind, but this is the reality.
We don't hear you good.
Okay, I won't. I'll try not to shout. But
it's more. That's good. Go on.
Okay, but the main point is that, as Armine was saying, Armenians are actually the result of thousands of years of people, coming together, either in conquest or in trade. And what is an Armenian? Armenian is the result of many mixed bloods, really. Even the Turks, there's more than 20% of them have Armenian blood in them. So what is Armenian? I take Armenian to be more about culture rather than the blood. And my wife is a classic example of this, as she is so-called half Armenian. Well, I can tell you, she is as proud and as one great an ambassador of Armenia as any, and it's got everything to do with how you feel and how you act more than it is to do with your so-called blood. So I believe that Armenians, it's a coming of age for Armenians. I think this wonderful couple will change minds and will start to introduce Armenians to the outside world a little more.
So let me ask you a question. How your families around you, did they welcome Armine, or they were resistant, or also in the same time, how did you feel about Armenian family? How do they welcome you, or when you do things in Armenia, do they see you a stranger, or they feel you like within?
Okay, so that's a really good question, and I think that's a very good positive thing for Armenia, because when I got engaged and then married to Armine, my experience is that actually it was the other way around in terms of racism. My Australian and New Zealand family were not really that welcoming, I would say. I'll be honest with you, there weren't a lot of welcomes for Armine until they got to meet this wonderful woman. Whereas when I went to Armenia, it was the other way around. I mean, my back hurt from bear hugs, and I felt part of the family straight away. So my experience was quite welcomed in Armenia, whereas unfortunately the West had some sort of ideas, oh, she's marrying for passport or she's marrying for something else. That sort of stigma until they actually met Armine and found out what a wonderful woman she was.
So this sort of making noise, it's not just Armenian phenomena. Every culture, somehow they don't want their people to get married to somebody else. So in your case, like your family was resistant. So it's not something.
I wouldn't say it was resistant, Wally. It's just, and it's not quite the same in terms of the Western people think that they're a little bit superior and think that, people from the East are coming for money or coming for passports. This is the honest truth here. This is what's in the background. It's not about, we want to marry only Australians or New Zealanders. It's not about that. It's why they just have this stigma in their minds. So it's not quite equivalent. But I just wanted to express the positive feelings that I had when I entered into my Armenian side and the Russian side of the family. I was very much welcomed, and it made me realize how much we'd lost in the West in terms of family ties